Come on, Sherlock. Oops. There we go. We are sitting out here on a beautiful late summer day in the New York area, about 70 degrees. I love this weather. And I am going to address the question of determining intelligence of a puppy. One of our regular followers, J-Boys, asked a very good question. How do you determine how intelligent one of your puppies is compared to others? And case in point, Sherlock. Because I've said several times he's a very smart little puppy. So how do we do that? Well, I did some checking online to see what was out there. There's all sorts of dog intelligence tests and 29 indicators of dog intelligence or whatever, and I really find most of it cumbersome, not very accurate, very variable. I don't think it's something that could be nailed down, like an IQ score or an SAT score, but you can get a pretty good idea of how smart your dog is by just looking at some key indicators. And from my own experience, I have narrowed it down to just 5 areas to look at, 5 indicators of intelligence in a dog. And I'd like to take a look at each one of those, one at a time. Whoops! He almost committed suicide jumping off of my lap. I'm sorry if there's no dog here, but that's all right. The first area I look at when I'm trying to assess intelligence is interaction. And I'm talking about interaction between the puppy and other dogs and with other people, because they are companion dogs and they should get along with humans as well as dogs. We want both. I find that the more open to interaction a puppy is, the smarter they're going to wind up being. I'll give you a couple of examples using Sherlock. As an example of interaction with dogs, take a look at this video that I published a few weeks ago, where Sherlock was visiting Jamba and the others at that house, and just watch how he interacts with Jamba. Now, even though Sherlock is on Jamba's home turf, it looks to me like he's kind of initiating all this interaction, and he's jumping up and putting his paws around Jamba's head, and Jamba at first kind of stays away, then he gets into the act, and they're not hurting each other. And the more Sherlock keeps jumping up on Jamba, Jamba gets more and more into the act. And ultimately, Sherlock just rolls over in a submissive position to say, that's all right. We also want to look at how puppies interact with humans. They are bred to be companion dogs. And one of the best examples I can think of is how Sherlock adapted very quickly to getting his teeth brushed. And this is a video that I put out not long ago. So let's take a look at this and see how this shows some interaction. Sherlock was first attracted to the whole teeth cleaning thing because he watched the other dogs having their teeth cleaned, and I gave him a taste of the toothpaste. But you'll notice how intently he's connecting with me, and especially with my finger that has the toothpaste on it. And even though there are distractions with other dogs around, he's focused on just conducting that activity, and he keeps looking at me for direction and, of course, nice interaction. The second indicator of intelligence is curiosity. And I think this carries through both in human experience, and I can tell you this as an educator, as well as canine. The more curious a dog or a person is, the more likely they are to show other signs of intelligence. Here's a video of Sherlock investigating the robot vacuum cleaner, which he accidentally activated by stepping on the clean button. And he was a little unsure, but let's take a look. Here's this mechanical monster that's just creeping along. He doesn't know why. And he's keeping his distance because he's not real positive about it, but he has an unwavering curiosity, and he wants to know, what is this? Is it harmful? Is it a dog? Is it a cat? I don't know. I'm not too sure of it, and I'll stand by Daddy's legs to make sure everything's okay. The third indicator that I came up with is what I call adaptability. And that would simply be how apt the dog is to adapt to a different situation, a different surrounding, different company, whatever. I have a couple of examples. One, unfortunately, I don't have any video of, but I've taken Sherlock for a couple of checkups to our vet, and we walk into the vet's office, and this is a place that he had never been before, and the first thing he wanted to do was play, go visit people, play with the other dogs who were there, play with the cats who were there. Had no hesitation. He adapted to that change of scenery just like that. But also, I did a video recently when we had several visitors to our house, other dogs that we had bred who we were watching for their owners, and there was a little puppy named Finn, same age as Sherlock, and Sherlock had never met Finn before, but just take a look at how they interacted. That's Sherlock on top there with the toy in his mouth. Now that's one of his very favorite toys, and there he was, very willing to share the toy with Finn, as long as Finn reciprocated by tugging back so they could have a little playful tug of war. And he's done this with his mother and his grandmother and other dogs that he knows, but this was a perfectly strange dog, and right away he played very nicely with him and loved it. The fourth indicator I look at is the ability to learn, and that's very important. Of course, learning involves training. Dogs will learn some things on their own, as Sherlock did when he followed the other dogs out the doggy door. Didn't need any prompting or training, and he uses the doggy door regularly right now. But I did a video recently on how to teach a dog to fetch a ball. Take a look at this. This was a new trick for Sherlock, and I was treating him. The first time I threw the ball, I did not expect him to bring it back. I just wanted him to get used to chasing the ball. I had to go over and get the ball myself. Took a little convincing to let him give it to me. But we got back. He got his reward. I threw it again, and now I was looking for him to come back in my direction, and he did, and actually came pretty close to me, so he got rewarded. And the very third time I threw it, he brought it all the way back to me and dropped the ball. And finally, the fifth area that I look at is the ability to problem solve. Now that's very closely connected with the ability to learn. There's very often some overlap there between the two. But when I talk about problem solving, I'm talking specifically about a situation that the puppy has had no experience with before and manages to figure things out for himself or herself. I have a very old video, sorry for the poor quality, but it is back years ago, when we had a girl named Flair. You might remember she actually, at the age of 13, recently passed away. And when Flair was very young, she would finish her dinner, and then she would go to other dogs who were locked in crates eating their dinners. The crates were there to prevent the dogs from stealing their food, and Flair figured out how to open the crate. Take a look. This is incredible. If you look inside the crate, you see another young dog who has not yet finished her dinner, and Flair was trying her darndest for several nights to try to get into the crate to get that food. Well, she finally figured out that where the latch was, and that if she jiggled it one way and then the other, it would open up. And it's like, wow, I did it. What she did not figure out, though, was that she had to go around to get in. And if you look in the corner there, I didn't get it on the whole video, but that is our old boy Murphy. And Murphy was even more impressive because he let Flair do all the work, and figured out by himself that once she opened the door, if he was standing on the right side, he could go in and steal the puppy's food. And before I say goodbye, there's one more thing that I would like to show you, and we're going to record that now. This is something I have not tried, and so the ability to problem solve is very relevant when you're talking about something that the dog has never seen before. I have a little puzzle that I'm going to see exactly how well Sherlock figures out. I have to just reset up the camera. Hold on. This is an interactive toy. And these are treats, which Sherlock is curious about. But anyway, this toy spins around in various segments. There are 3 different levels where there are openings for treats to be placed, and they operate independently of one another. Sherlock has never seen this before. I'm going to take one of these liver treats, which I know he likes. Look, see, good boy. I'm going to put this in here. I'm putting it in the top level, which I think is the easiest. Find it. Get the... It took a little time for him to figure out that he has to smell for it. You smell it? Treat is right here. Right here. And with a little help from my pointing, he figured out where to smell, and... All right, that was easy. Now I'm going to move down one level. And I'll put the treat. Watch me, you ready? Right here. And see if he can figure it out. Now that he knows what the goal is, I leave it entirely up to him to figure out what strategy to use, and he is using the strategy of smelling and pushing with his nose. He moved the first layer, which he already learned, but he can still smell it's underneath. He managed to get that top layer rotated again, but that didn't yield a treat, and he decides again to keep pushing with his nose. Now he's moving 2 layers together. He got his nose in there where he got the scent, and he got it. I'm going to go for the bottom level in the back. Look, see? Look, see? Okay, find it. When I'm looking for evidence of problem solving, I'm looking for him to take the behaviors that worked and use them again. What a good boy. And even with that difficult placement, he was successful in finding it. Well, I hope that was informative for you, and Sherlock helped us quite a bit. Thank you, little boy. Please remember that if you have any questions, any concerns, if I can answer them, I will. I can answer them in writing. I can answer them on a Ask the Breeder video, or I could devote a whole video to something like I did here if it warrants it. Just leave a comment. I always read every single comment left. So whatever you have to say, please feel free to share it. So, Sherlock, you're a good boy.
Yeah, and I'm smart too.
Bye now.